Hi guys, hi, hello, how's it going? How y'all doing today? Hopefully today finds you well. Today I am doing the haul in retrospect that I usually do every month or so here on my channel, just going over the things that I purchased last year during this time. Were they smart decisions? Do I still have them in my collection? Did I use them up? Am I using them? Period. This is my way of like really monitoring my purchases and making sure I'm making smart decisions. We all know the first couple years you're out here on YouTube, you maybe don't make the smartest purchasing decisions, and I fell into that trap. So this is me trying to keep track of all the things and really coming to you with some reviews of the products that I'm using. I also have a friend, JC, who told me, you bring all this stuff in, but you never review it. So I started doing these haul and retrospects for my friend JC, but overall it seems like it's actually a video on my channel that people enjoy. So today I am going to be doing the haul and retrospect for everything I picked up in January, February, and March of last year, and we'll talk about it. There's not a lot here actually for 3 months worth of products. I do think it'll be a smidge bit of a minute because I like to talk a lot, but if that sounds like something you're interested in, please keep on watching. For those of you new here, hi, my name is Donna. I'm a lover of all things high-end, colorful beauty and self-care. I also work in the beauty industry as a field leader for Ulta Beauty, so I get a lot of education in my position. I like to bring you that education here, but ultimately I'm just out here talking about makeup because I like to talk about makeup. And if that sounds like something you're interested in, I hope that at the end of the day, we can be friends. I hope that you'll want to subscribe before you go. And with that said, let's just jump into this. Let's just talk about some makeup, shall we? So I have a whole list of the items that I purchased in my collection for January, February, and March of last year. Some of them came to me in my lucky bag that I purchased in December of 2022 that arrived to me in January of 2023. I do have some FabFitFun purchases as well from February, which I think was my last FabFitFun box, I believe. And then I also have some Rouge rewards that I spent in March, and we have those products to talk about. How I depicted the products that I brought in was just going back into my makeup rehab, which is a series that I do here on my channel, talking about all the beauty purchases that I make and all of the beauty empties that I have for the month of whatever. So I did go into my makeup rehab series and I pulled out the products that came into my collection for the month of January. And we do have some purchases from, or some items that entered my collection from my Beautylish Lucky Bag for last year. For starters, we have one product that I no longer have, and it's not because I didn't like it, but it's because I emptied it entirely, and that is this product here, which is the Charlotte Tilbury Airless Flawless Finishing Spray. And this was just a travel size version of her Airless Flawless Finishing Spray. But with that said, it wasn't something that I thought was going to like take the place of any of the other setting sprays that I was using. Yes, it's a setting spray. A setting spray is a setting spray, like a lot of people feel, but I do have some favorites in my collection. Those are the ones that I will continue going back to. It was nice to have this one, but I don't think it was something as special as what I, or more special, I guess, than what I am currently using. So I didn't repurchase it. I probably won't repurchase it. And then there was also this, which was a purchase actually, but it is also not in my collection anymore. And this is the Nude Stick Eyeshadow Stick in Olive Queen. I bought this eyeshadow stick because I was helping a customer find it. Before she purchased it, she pulled it out of its container. She swatched it on her own hand. I loved it. It was so pretty. So then I was on the hunt for one for myself because I had just sold her the last one in that store. And when I got this product into my collection, I actually tried it and it made my eyes burn so bad. So this stick actually was only used like twice, I think. And both times it made my eyes burn. So both times I said, I can't do this anymore. So I did get rid of that stick. So those are the two products that came to me at this time last year that are no longer in my collection. One of them decluttered, one of them used up. The Charlotte Tilbury Airless Flawless Setting Spray was in my lucky bag. In addition to that, I did also receive the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 4 Transcendence palette, and this guy, I do have a palette roulette on, which is my review videos for eyeshadow palettes that come into my collection, good, bad, indifferent, old, new, whatever. I show looks, I show swatches, and I completely review the palette. And every palette in this video has a palette roulette on it. I will go ahead and link those down in the cards for you. But this is the Danessa Myricks Lightwork Volume 4 Transcendence palette, and this was the Bright Shining Star of the Beautylish Lucky Bag that I received last year, and I can't say I'm sad I received it in my Beautylish Lucky Bag. It is beautiful. These 4 shadows in here are kind of a pain in the ass, if I'm honest with you, because they're water activated, but other than that, they're so beautiful to use. I don't really love the like flaky ones because they do tend to create a little bit more texture on my eyes than I like for somebody who has, you know, aging eyes. But everything in this palette is truly beautiful and gorgeous and unique to my collection. I'm quite certain it would be unique to just about anybody's collection. And Danessa Myricks has probably the best like multi-chromes, duochromes, whatever that you can get mainstream. You can pick her up at Sephora. So I was super happy to have this. It is an expensive palette, but well worth the money in my humble opinion. The next thing I got in my Beautylish Lucky Bag was this, and this is the Hindash Color Fluid in the shade Canvas. And when I first got this, I was a little bit, honestly, not impressed. I was like, what the hell am I going to use this for? But honestly, this has become a go-to eye primer for me. I love this product for an eye primer. It's also a really good, like, just like matte highlighter on the face for when you just want some like highlighting moments, those no makeup moments when you can just blend it out on your face. It actually blends out to a really beautiful skin tone if you're my skin tone or lighter from a highlighting place. You guys can see. And when I just pat it out, it literally disappears, but creates kind of this brightening effect, and it's just so pretty. So super excited to have that. Would probably honestly repurchase that if it came down to it. But he does have like, I think 6 different color fluids, and they are fantastic, honestly. So, or that one is. I have to imagine they all are. If they are of the same formulation, they're amazing, and they're matte. I think he has one called Boy Tears that is a shimmer one, but the rest are matte, and they're wonderful. They're truly wonderful. I also received this Shanta Kai Sunbeam Cheek and Eye shade, and I was super excited to receive something from Shanta Kai in my bag. I think that this is probably something I could have done without. It's just far too orange to be a cheek product for me, and honestly, it's not something that I would wear as an all-over eye shade. So I'm trying my best to figure out how I like it best. But I mean, at the end of the day, it could be a really beautiful like eye shade. So maybe I'll put it into my single eyeshadows. But if I have to be honest with you, this is not cheap. It was super, I think it's like, I don't know, 50 something dollars, maybe more. It is Shanta Kai, I can't remember, but that's an expensive eyeshadow. So I think that when it comes down to it, it can't be a cheap color for me. So it will have to be an eyeshadow because I'm not really a shimmery blush kind of person. I like a matte blush and then putting a highlighter over the top of it. So that's kind of where I get stuck with that item, and it's definitely not deep enough to be a bronzer. So I don't know. It's not my favorite product. I'm glad that of the products I got in that bag, like that one is the only one that I didn't really 100% love. I also got these two products, which was a Wayne Goss lip liner and a Wayne Goss lipstick. And this is actually one of my favorite lip liners. This is in the shade medium nude. So it is just like a My Lips But Better kind of shade. And that is what it looks like. It truly is beautiful. It's a beautiful like pencil. So you can get a nice sharp tip to it. And then this is the lipstick shade, which really complements that lip liner very, very well. It's a little more peachy than I thought it was going to be, but it is gorgeous. I've worn it a couple times, and this is in the shade Pecan. I love these products too. His lipsticks are really emollient and not drying at all. They don't sit on the lips in a way that they sink into all the cracks and crevices of your lips, specifically if you have super dry lips. I would say though that I do put on a lip primer prior to putting this lipstick on, and this lip liner prior to putting this lipstick on. It does kind of, I think because it's as emollient as it is, it does kind of love to travel, but as long as I keep it within the lip lines and then put a primer on underneath, it is very, very nice and kind to my lips. I received friend mail in that month as well. So before I received this, I received friend mail from my wonderful subscriber. Sent me the purple flaky shade that's in here in a single. So I was super excited to get to try this prior to having it in that palette, because at least now I know how to use it. And this actually sees more action than that whole palette does, to be honest. So really happy to have that. It's just got the like little flakes that you can pop those into your eye looks, and they're gorgeous. But that is what I'm talking about. It does create a little bit of texture, if you guys can see the bigger, chunkier pieces of the chrome flakes. That is what I'm talking about when I say sometimes it creates a lot more texture than I want in an eye look, but really was happy to have this, and I will keep it even though I have the palette, because like I said, that receives a whole lot more action than the palette does in and of itself. I did get in gratis a Fluff Up Brow Wax by Benefit. This was their new product of the month, or of the time frame. And this is just a little tiny brow wax wand that is a lot like the ABH Brow Freeze, only I prefer this one. The Brow Freeze just makes them so like stiff, and this one, they're still a little bit malleable when you use it. The problem with this is that it does have a little bit of white like tint to it. So if you don't put it on sparingly, and if you don't like comb it out appropriately, and if you don't utilize it in the way that they suggest you utilize it, which, you know, sometimes having those products that come with an instruction manual are a little bit more hindering than they are anything else. But if you don't use it in the right way, it can cause like little white balls to ball up on your eyebrows. So it was a process getting used to this product, but now that I have gotten used to it, I love it. Actually, this is not the first one, the one that I'm talking about that I received last year, but this is the second one I've had in my collection, both of them gratis. But you do just wipe one way, wipe the other, and then comb it through so that you can style it, and then you use your pencil and spoolie your pencil through, and it works best in that way. I love that product, honestly. And then I also, my big spin, my reaching out to a brand I've never tried before, was these 3 Blend Bunny palettes. And I did pick up Surge, Lure, and the Dollhouse. And I'm really excited that I did, because specifically this one, because Surge is no longer for sale, but this is the Blend Bunny Surge palette, and it is the one with the like neons in it. So kind of a little bit grungy, kind of a little bit neon. It does have the 4 rows of mattes, with these being like a gradient all the way down to the shimmer that you can use all over the lid. And then I used these an awful lot to blend out. A lot of these are blue light activated, so that was super fun when we went to FLC and we had a neon neon night. I did wear this palette and took it with me to FLC, which is the Field Leadership Conference for executives and leaders at Ulta Beauty. I had a really great time with this palette. It's not my favorite Blend Bunny palette, but it was a lot of fun. This one, Lure, is one of my favorites because of the color story alone. I do think that this color story is fantastic. It is just so mermaid, and that is the vibe that it was going for, like Siren of the Sea, like luring people in to, you know, take their whatever it is that makes them like special. Like a siren is a bad mermaid. And that's what I get from this, like beautiful, majestical mermaid creature from the deep, dark depths of hell. But really very, very beautiful palette. Again, with the 1 row of shimmers and then the 3 gradient matte shades clear down to the shimmer. And I prefer a palette that has a lot more matte heaviness to it than shimmer heaviness. So Blend Bunny is actually a favorite of mine that, you know, I just learned about last year, and I now want every single one of their palettes. Their matte shades are fantastic. I think that their shimmers still could use a little bit of work, but their mattes are super, super good. So my favorite from the bunch was this one, and it's actually kind of shocking to me that this one was my favorite because you guys see my eyes, you see those last 2 palettes. This one is the Dollhouse palette, and it's just very normal, very neutral, very everyday, very what some might call boring. But this one actually has 2 rows of shimmers. The top and bottom row are shimmer rows, and then the gradient of the 3 different rows of mattes in between. This is truly an eyeshadow palette that I could see somebody gravitating towards as a one and done, because all of these shades here are a deeper version of their middle shade, which is a deeper version of their top shade. And then there's 2 different shimmers, 2 different shimmer rows. And the idea is that you can work in a row to create a full look. Well, in this case, like there's 6 rows with 2 shimmers each. So you literally could have, if you don't bounce around in the palette and just really baseline it on how this palette is built, you could literally have 12 days and not one look would look the same. So, I mean, that's super fun to me, but this is my favorite palette of the 3 Blend Bunny that I picked up in January of last year, and that would be the products that I picked up in January of last year. So of the products that I picked up in January of last year, only one of them got decluttered, and the rest have been used, abused, or used entirely. So really super excited about that. I would say that those were really great purchases. So in February, I did pick up a couple items from FabFitFun because they caught my attention. It was one of my last boxes, and FabFitFun typically does like this edit sale thing where you can go on to the sale pages that they have before getting your box. It would ship with your box, so shipping is free. And then in addition to that, they're like up to 70% off. And I saw a couple things, they caught my eye. This one is the NCLA Beauty Sleep Lip Mask. And if I have to be honest with you, like this guy, I haven't even used. So I'm not 100% sure that this was the best purchase, but it still smells like birthday cake, which is what its scent is. And I'm still interested in using it. I just shouldn't have bought another lip mask when I have a ton of lip masks and had a ton of lip masks at the time that I hadn't barreled through yet. So this is not even the oldest one that's in my collection. You guys just saw my lip collection. If not, I will go ahead and link that up in the cards for you. There's a ton of lip products in my collection, and that's just one of them. So there's that. I'm still happy to have that in my collection. I will still pull it to get some use out of it, but that's where we're at with that one right now. And then I also picked up the Jouer Sunset Bronzer Duo in medium to deep, and it has 2 different shades. It has Sun-Kissed and Sunset in it, and I think I picked this up because Samantha March has actually panned, I believe, one of these Jouer bronzer duos, and I was super excited to try it. I do like it. I do think that it is a beautiful combination of bronzers. I think one will probably likely get more use from me than the other, but this one does create a really nice like contoured look and does suit me better when I am more tan than the other one that suits me better when I am more fair. Seen a lot of use in my collection actually, so really happy to have it in my collection and glad that it has seen the amount of use that it has. Last year was a year for trying out new brands for me, and in addition to the Blend Bunny as a new brand, I also wanted to try Odens Eye, so I did pick up some things from Odens Eye. This highlight had been on my list for such a long time, and I remember last year was my first year doing Duck of Panning, and one of the first prompts I got was a dupe item, and that was like a product that dupes something that you have on your wish list. And so I pulled in a highlight that I thought I would use to get the experience or the feel of this highlight. This is the Moonlight Feel highlighter in the shade Azura Shine, or H105. And I love this highlight, but I have to be honest with you, utilizing the one and saying, well, it's going to talk me out of this, did the exact opposite. I picked it up, and then, I mean, it's so pretty. It's so pretty, but it's also like purple shifty, purple to blue shifty. I don't wear it very often, but I do absolutely love that highlight, and I'm so excited to have it. And also, I mean, the packaging alone, look, who doesn't want something that looks as beautiful as this? And also that piece of it follows it inside, where it's got like a beautiful imprint also on the product. Like, they just do such a good job with how they present themselves as a brand. Secondarily, I was like, okay, I can't try a highlight without also trying a blush. I had heard really great things about their blushes. This is the Sunlight Love Blusher in Rosette Love, or W101, and this is what this one looked like. And I picked it up because on the website, it kind of looked like a gradient of like kind of this like whitish shimmery color to this like peachy color. And I do think that that is honestly the case with it. It does look the same way in the packaging, but I, again, like the Shanta Kai product, I really quite hate this blush. Not hate it, okay, that's a strong word. I really don't like it. I'm not a glowy blush kind of person. I am a matte blush with a highlight kind of person. So what I am trying to do with this is remember to pull it out when I have a really matte like peachy blush, and use it as a blush topper to like feed into the highlight that I am then using, because I can't use this as a blush. I would love to pick up some more of their like matte leaning blushes though, not their shimmer blushes, because I do think that I would love them. And again, the packaging is just unreal. Like I cannot with their packaging. The packaging follows to their palettes. This is the Perfect World collection, and this was with the 3 influencers, Makeup Just for Fun, Betty Jean or Betty Bean, and Lauren Mae Beauty. I purchased this collection because I was a super fan of Lauren Mae Beauty. Still am a super fan of Lauren Mae. She's just so creative and amazing. I didn't start following Makeup Just for Fun until I started playing with this palette because I wanted to know a little bit about her. Same can be said for Betty Jean. I didn't know really anything about either one of those two when I picked up this palette trio. That said, I did pick up the full Perfect World collection. So it came with a scarf, and it came with, well, it came with multiple scarves and a bunch of other things. I love these so dang much. These were part of my top 10 for this last year as far as palette rankings go. And this one was my #1 favorite. This one is Makeup Just for Fun's palette, and this is the Flora Story. How beautiful is that? So green is my favorite color. And up until not that long ago, I never would wear it on my eyes. But I do love it. It is so pretty. And then purple would be secondary to that as far as my favorite colors go. So this palette like spoke to me. And every single eye look I got from this palette, I absolutely loved. So this was my #1 palette of 2023. And I mean, it's beautiful, right? So in addition to this palette was the Planet Spirit palette. This one was by Betty Jean. And this one is beautiful as well. It's just a little less like everyday, a lot more like in your face and stunning. I mean, it was the top 10 performer for me. So like, I can't say anything bad about this palette. Everything was so fab and beautiful. And then this one is Lauren's. And I'll tell you, this one did me dirty because I love those kind of shades to blend out blues, which this comes with, but this is more of like a satin shade, so it's got a little bit of a sheeniness to it, so it didn't do me any favors to try and blend out the blues in this palette with that shadow, but I love using this as an inner corner, and I think that's why Lauren put it in here. But I also really love that this palette is like straight up like these are your neutrals, your everyday. These are your blues, and then you've got a couple of pops of color, one on a sheeny end and one on a shimmery end. I mean, really beautiful, beautiful palette. So all 3 of these came in my top 10 for the year, and I am not unhappy to have them in my life. I also at that time picked up some things from Glamlite because Glamlite had a really crazy awesome Valentine's palette that came out, and I could not pass it up because I remember being a kid and being terrified of this doll because of the Chucky movies. My brother had a My Buddy doll, and this might be like totally aging me, but it reminded me of Chucky. So when this movie came out and my brother also had this My Buddy doll, I was terrified to be in my house ever. So this reminded me, it gave me a little pulled on the heartstrings for my childhood. And also this palette like screamed anti-Valentine, which was amazing. It's got the lenticular cover, right, where it kind of changes from Chucky and Tiff to saying crazy in love with their eyeballs in there. And it's just such an amazing color story. I love this palette. Like, you can see this palette has seen some use, and I'm not sad about it. What I am sad about is I also decided to pick up one of the lip kits as well at the same time. And I kept the lipstick because the lipstick's not really a bad shade at all, but I got rid of the lip liner. Now the lip liner was like this crazy, like deep dark brown, which reminded me of 90s lips with the brown, really brown lip line and kind of like a peachy nude on the inner portions of your lips, but it just wasn't a me color. So I did get rid of the lip liner. I also picked up at that same time 2 palettes that I had been wanting to pick up when they came out, but didn't, because they just kept selling out and kept selling out. And I got the bundle of them for, I think, the price of what one of them would have cost, or maybe just a little bit less. So I did get Michaela, the original Michaela palette, which is fun and just kind of a little bit of everything in this palette. And then I also got Michaela Pot 2, which is one that I am currently doing a palette roulette on. It's more of the greens and blues. It is what is on my eyes today. And I mean, greens are my favorite color. So these two palettes really spark that sense of creativity that I have with my eyeshadow palettes, whereas like something like this or even something like this isn't necessarily leaning to the creative moments for me, but are just so pretty. The pretty eye looks, whereas the creative eye looks might not be as pretty, but man, they're super great, right? It is what's on my eyes today. I don't necessarily think that this isn't pretty, but I just think that it is different enough that, you know, maybe somebody wouldn't think it was pretty. I think it's pretty, but who knows? So of the stuff that I purchased in February, there's one item that was decluttered. The rest of it I have, and all but this item here, the lip mask, has been used. The only reason why the lip mask hasn't been used is because I just have too many in my collection and I shouldn't have bought it. Now let's talk about the things that I brought into my collection in March, which is the last month of what we're looking at today. I had a Rouge reward, and the Rouge rewards are like $100 that you can spend at Sephora, and you purchase it with your Rouge points. And I am Rouge. I had 2,500 points and I purchased a Rouge reward. So I got $100 worth of products for free, which is so sad because 2,500 Ulta points would buy me so much more than $100 worth of anything. But it is what it is. We all know that Sephora's point system kind of sucks, right? But I'm an equal opportunity shopper, and they still had at that point in time a lot that I could not get at Ulta Beauty. Some things that I got with that Rouge reward were these. I got the Kosas Cloud Set Powder, and I did get it in the shade Feathery. I think that this powder is beautiful, and I'm really glad to have it in my collection. I also quite like the component because it is a really like hard, frosty, hard plastic. So I love it. It is baked, so it's a really beautiful, finely milled powder. I love this powder. I initially purchased it because my friend Ree, who is a GM in my old market, was using it one day in the car as we were traveling somewhere. And I'm like, do you like that powder? And she goes, I love this powder. So I thought I'd pick it up. I actually quite love it. I am not a powder person, but I do love me some really great pressed powders. That's one that I find that I love. Additionally, I bought a Danessa Myricks Yummy Skin Blush Balms, I think they're called. And this one is in the shade Golden Hour. And I know that it doesn't look like I've used this, but I have used this actually quite a few times. And I mean, look at that blush. This is the perfect, like, tan skin, beautifully bronzed summer blush. So really excited for summer to be coming again to see if I can use this. You know, last year we were moving from Eastern Washington to Western Washington, and it was flippin' frigid here compared to Eastern Washington. So I didn't get to use it as much as I had in the past, but I mean, I love me a peachy blush, and this is just straight up peachy on crack. So I love this blush, honestly. And when you blend it out, I mean, this is straight up like just a swatch, right? But when you blend it out, it is such a beautiful orange on your cheeks. And it would only be good for some skin tones, I do think. But I mean, God, it's just so pretty. I also bought the Huda Beauty Love Fest palette, which is this guy here. Listen, I have used this. I'm not 100% sure this is my favorite Obsessions palette. I do love a Huda Beauty Obsessions palette, even though they're, you know, probably the worst of the worst as far as her collection goes. I do like this palette. I'm just not a super fan of this palette. So happy to have it in my collection. Love the meaning behind it, but not a super fan of it. I also bought the House Labs bronzer, and I do have it in light level 4, and this is what it looks like. Really beautiful bronzer. This is probably one of my favorite bronzers. I think the formulation of it is just really, really odd, but so, so beautiful. It feels kind of like grippy and creamy, like it's a cream, but it's not a cream. I mean, it's such a wonderful formula and different and unique and beautiful on the skin. So happy to have that in my collection. And then I also purchased at that time the Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water mascara, which was a wonderful tubing mascara. If I didn't have 40 something mascaras still in my collection, I would probably repurchase that Cali Ray Come Hell or High Water. It was a beautiful tubing mascara. I really enjoyed it. I just had purchased the like travel version of it because it was like 13 bucks just to throw in to finish off my Rouge reward and not like overspend. I loved it. I am super excited that I had it and that I got to use it and try it. So about this time, we actually brought Dior and Natasha Denona into our makeup category at Ulta Beauty. I went a little bit ham buying some of those products with points and or with my wonderful discount. So I did buy 3 Dior lip products, and then I bought 1 Natasha lip product and 1 Natasha palette. So the 3 Dior lip products that I bought was a little bit of everything. I wanted a lipstick from Dior. This is the Dior Beige Oblique, the Dior Addict Beige Oblique. This is one of my favorite lipsticks, and you guys got to hear about it in my top 3 that went up earlier this week. I love this lipstick so much. It's just got this really beautiful like sheerness to it that makes it feel more like a gloss, and it's super, super comfortable to wear. It doesn't really 100% dry down, but it also doesn't move anywhere. So really happy to have that guy in my collection. I also bought a Dior lip gloss. This is the Dior the Dior Lip Maximizer, so it's a little bit of a plumping gloss. This one is in the shade Hollow Lavender. Again, one of my favorite glosses, and even though it's this one over here, I don't know if you guys can see it super well, but even though it is a plumper, it's not a hurtful plumper or one that stings like, you know, Too Faced lip injection. That's not at all what it's like. And as a matter of fact, I think it's just more of a minty sensation or a minty feel, and it definitely smells like mint. And then I also bought the Dior Addict Lip Glow Oil in the shade Berry. I love the shade of this. I love the doe foot on this guy. It's like huge. And I also love that it kind of almost like cools down any lip look that I have going on that's maybe just a tad bit too warm or too peachy or too orange for me. So I love this. And also it really does due diligence to make my lips feel really good and moisturize and keep them moisturized. Let's put them on. See, it's just got a little bit of that like pinky feel to it, but it's so pretty. And I would pick up more of these. I would pick up more of any of those, honestly. I do want to try the Clarins lip oil. I haven't done that yet, but one day. I picked up the Natasha Denona I Need a Nude lipstick in Noah. So this is also another one of those Samantha March Made Me Buy It products. She raves about the shade Noah from the Natasha Denona line, and I have to be honest with you, I also really love this lipstick. It's kind of this like cool toned taupe that is just so pretty and everyday for me for my lips. It reminds me of what most people think of like Charlotte Tilbury's Pillow Talk My Lips But Better. I feel like this very much could lean My Lips But Better because my natural lip pigmentation is more olivey brown than it is pink. So, and Very Victoria is another lipstick that I bought on Samantha March's recommendation, and it reminds me of it just a little bit, but with a little bit more of that warmth. So I wear this one when I have a warm look going on, and this one when I have a cool look going on. I love that lipstick formula. It is so good, so emollient. And then the last thing is this, and it's the Natasha Denona Glam Face Palette. And I think I talked about this when, not this one specifically, but I think I talked about this thought process when I reviewed the Love Face Palette. These kind of get lost in my collection because they're not really an eyeshadow palette and they're not really a face palette. I had it sitting with my face palettes. So it's been used. It just hasn't been used a lot. I think I've used every single one of these shades once. And then this blush and highlighter, I think I've also used once. I think I'm going to put this in with my palettes so that I see it more often, so that I think about taking it with me when I travel out of town, if for no other reason. And then the last thing that I got in the month of March was actually a gratis item, and it was the MAC Lash Dry Shampoo. And if you guys have been watching my channel for any moment of time, I at first hated this product because I was like, what the hell is the purpose of this product? It is not a dry shampoo. It doesn't make my lashes look better. It doesn't like do the same kind of thing that a dry shampoo would do in your hair. It did have a little bit of color to it. I found that I actually, do I have one? I do. I found that I actually repurchased them to use as a lower lash line mascara because the wand, there's no like fluff about this wand, right? It's just a wand that is there for a purpose. It gets through every single lash and it coats it just enough with enough pigmentation that I feel like I've got something on my lower lash line, and it also doesn't really flake off for me. So I do use this product on my lower lash line. This is like the third one that I've had since that one, or maybe the second one that I've had since that one, but I think I emptied 2 in my empties last year, with that one that I received in March and gratis being the first of the 2, and then this one I opened I think in like December timeframe. With that said, I should probably go, but I don't use it very often and I don't use it in a very big spot, so I just hold on to it. That said, everything that I purchased in March I have used, period, or I've used and finished and repurchased, or I've used and finished and would repurchase. So everything I bought in March was a good spend. Everything I bought in February was a good spend. This is the only product that I haven't used. Oh, I forgot to tell you, in February I also received the Benefit They're Real Magnet Mascara, which was a favorite of mine for a long time. I used it up. I think I maybe have a couple in backup, but I'm not 100% sure. So the only things that I purchased in January, February, or March that I haven't used or did get rid of are the Nude Sticks eyeshadow stick in Olive Queen. I decluttered that. And this guy, which I haven't used yet, but I will use. The rest of it, good purchases. So happy that this monitoring my purchases turned out the way it did. I didn't purchase a lot, to be honest. I've had January, February, and Marches be so much more eventful as far as purchasing goes in the makeup category for me. I feel like I was doing a really good job of making sure that I was spending in only the way that made sense for me to spend in that moment. I did, get a lot from some new brands that I hadn't tried yet. I also got a lot from some brands that I know that I love. So I'm really excited about just looking at my desk here and seeing the brands that are here, the products that I have, the products that I love, and knowing that there was, a handful of products, 3 total products that I purchased and either decluttered or haven't used. I mean, I can't say I'm unhappy. So yeah, that's it. That's all I got for you. I hope that you guys enjoyed the video. Please let me know what you think of the products that I brought into my collection last year this time. There's little short reviews that I had on these products and whether you're proud of me or not, because I'm super proud of me. Please let me know if there are products that you brought into your collection last year that you promptly got rid of, or if you're really happy with the purchases you made last year. Are you tracking those things? Are you keeping them monitored much like I am? If not, just whatever. You guys just let me know something down in the comment section. Hit me up down there. I love having a discussion with you down there, no matter what it's about. It could be about the sunshine that you're having that I'm not having. That would be okay, because I just tell you how jealous I am and how much you suck. Just kidding. Thank you guys so much for watching me today. I hope that you enjoyed the video. I hope that you and yours are doing well, that you are all safe and healthy and getting along as best you can, that everyone out there is loving each other but loving each other from afar. And until next time, bye friends.